WFLA Now will begin momentarily. WFLA Now will begin momentarily. Live on WFLA Now, this is Hey JB. Here's JB Buno.
We are less than an hour away from answers in the Carlee Russell mystery. What exactly happened to the 25-year-old Alabama woman who vanished for more than 2 days after she said that she saw a toddler on the side of I-459 in Hoover? Well, Hoover police, they have called an afternoon press conference. A press conference will be streaming live across all platforms here on WFLA Now. Hello, folks. Welcome back into the Stream Center here on WFLA Now. JB here with you live on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and hello to our YouTube live audience waiting patiently as we get things ready for this afternoon press conference from Hoover PD in central Alabama, where we're expected to get more answers as to what exactly happened with Carlee Russell. This was an urgent search that was conducted by authorities in central Alabama Thursday night into Friday all day into Saturday, when Saturday night, according to authorities, after she vanished on Thursday and was missing for a period of approximately 49 hours, she returned. Video captured her walking down the street, according to police, and returning on foot to her parents' house, where she had a quick exchange with her parents, and then she was quickly sent over to the hospital where she was treated and then released. But exactly what happened with Carlee Russell when she was missing, whether or not she actually saw a toddler on the side of the interstate, and whether or not she was actually abducted, that all remains unknown. But the public and, of course, the media have been pressing Hoover PD for answers, and we're about an hour away, or less than an hour away, about 45 minutes away now, from getting perhaps the answers to the questions that we are so desperately asking on social media, because social media on this story, if you've been paying attention to Carlee Russell's, I guess that has been trending on Twitter, or the hashtag Carlee Russell has been just going all over the place on social media. A lot of things are being said, but a reminder to our audience here, we have not gotten a whole lot from police, and we understand that the reason we haven't gotten a whole lot from police since Carlee Russell turned up on Saturday night is because there hasn't been a statement provided, a lengthy statement, if you will. Carlee speaking with the police department, providing them with her recollection of what transpired in that 49 hours that she was missing, and so many people were desperately searching for her. We hope to get more, and as to whether or not in the last several hours that statement has been provided, we do not know. Everything is going, of course, building up to this 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central press conference in Hoover, Alabama. We're going to spend the next 40 or so minutes going over your questions, your comments, talking about what we have found out even in the last 24 to 48 hours on this story. There we have now the video, the traffic video that we were unable to show you. We're going to hear from Talitha Russell, as we present you with everything that we know up until this point, so that when we do get that press conference coming up at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, we are prepared with all the facts, what we know, and of course what we do not know. So saying hello to our audience. We had some comments come in on YouTube Live as we were in countdown. People were asking, my goodness, well, JB, why do you have so many screens? What is up with all the monitors? That was one of the questions I saw with a lot of question marks trailing behind it. And the reason is very simple. The Stream Center here is built and equipped to be able to access camera feeds, news feeds from all around the country. We understand that live streaming and having news in the palm of your hand, news right now, not later on tonight, but news in the immediacy of the moment is obviously so extremely important to our audience. So using the Stream Center, I have a lot of screens here because I look over at this screen and this screen as well to monitor all the different feeds from camera crews really across the country, not just with the Carlee Russell story, but we're talking about breaking news developments in really any section of the country, any section of the world. So the press conference itself has not actually begun, obviously, but the feed itself has not yet become available. So what will happen is, of course, I will hit the touch screen here when the feed becomes available, and then we are live to share that press conference with you. We have taken precaution to ensure that if there is questionable quality with that feed, we have backup feeds in place. We're going to make sure that the highest quality press conference live stream feed is available to you here, wherever you're watching from right now on WFLA Now. So saying hi to Stephanie, saying hi to Wanda, Dory Bells, Virgil, Moonwalker, and some other very colorful usernames on YouTube Live. We're going to start to take your hashtag HeyJB questions and comments. If you haven't been with us on stream before, here's how this works. You see the hashtag on the white stripe underneath my name down here. It says hashtag HeyJB. You see it also in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you use that hashtag here in the Stream Center, I have the ability to go to this screen here, and I can see comments like this one from VSale, hashtag HeyJB. Is there a search ongoing for the possibly endangered toddler? And we'll get into questions like this. And you would imagine that, of course, as authorities have been looking or were looking over that 49-hour period for any signs of Carlee Russell, they were also looking for any signs of an endangered toddler. And it has to be stated that at this point in the investigation, there was only one phone call, one report, one 911 call about a toddler on I-459, and that came from Carlee Russell. So it was dark out there. Is it possible that a toddler was walking around and it just so happened that Carlee was at that moment crossing that section of pavement on the interstate and saw the endangered toddler and called it doing the right thing? And of course, no one else saw it? Absolutely. But a lot of social media activity exists asking the question, how is it that only Carlee Russell saw this, again, the claim of an endangered toddler on the side of I-459? So if you use hashtag HeyJB, we can bring in your questions, your comments interactively. And we're going to start to do so in just a few moments. In the meantime, I just really want to quickly review what's new about this story, what we, of course, have learned over really the last couple of days. The big piece of news that has developed over the last couple of days, of course, as people have been waiting and clamoring for updates on this story to find out once and for all what exactly happened to Carlee Russell, is the fact that she, according to police, picked up snacks at Target, but that those snacks were not found in the vehicle when, of course, the vehicle was found abandoned on the side of the road. So what exactly happened with the snacks, of course, is a major question. The surveillance video that we haven't seen yet, but there is surveillance video, according to police, of showing Carlee Russell walking alone down the street to arrive back at her parents' house. Police saying that she was conscious and that she was speaking when she arrived. And then, of course, the Woodhouse Day Spa. That's Carlee Russell's place of employment, saying that they're going to be turning over everything that they can to police as far as assisting in their investigation. There hasn't been all that much. I do want to shout out to NBC News, Priscilla Thompson, just doing a great job on this story. Priscilla has been on the ground there in Birmingham, and I've been following her reports, and she's doing a great job. She spoke to the Russell family, and it was a lengthy interview, but I cannot show the entirety of that interview. It's an NBC News exclusive, but of course, WFLA being an NBC station, what we're going to do is we're going to play back a quick portion of that, because there are some pertinent questions being asked by Priscilla Thompson as to exactly what happened when Carlee Russell got home, and also, too, what she told her parents And we'll be back in 15 seconds after this little snippet. Again, this is NBC News. Priscilla Thompson speaking to the Russell family.
She was not in a good state, so we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her.
And can you tell me what happened Saturday night? Did you just get a knock at the door?
Anything leading to the case itself, we can't discuss that.
So the family is remaining tight-lipped, but also in that interview, they say that Carlee Russell was abducted. And that, of course, if we rewind, we go a little bit back in time to Thursday night. We know we were on stream together on Saturday. The last time we streamed about this story, we were talking about Carlee Russell and how she was on the phone with 911, how she was on the phone with a family member, and that there was a scream that was heard, and that by the time authorities arrived minutes later, they found her phone, her belonging, her wigs, her Apple Watch in her purse, that her car door was open, that the toddler wasn't there, and that Carlee Russell right there was gone. Her wig was found on the ground, and of course, the picture of her without the wig was widely distributed on social media. People were trying to do everything that they could to help find Carlee Russell. And of course, it has to be stated, nothing is more important than her being back safe and sound. But my biggest question on this, we're about to go to your hashtag HJB questions and comments here. I want to quickly point out, this is my number one question on this story. My biggest question. I have two, but this is my number one. And that and here it is, if Carlee Russell was abducted, then why hasn't there been a back and forth communication between the Russell family and between police to catch her abductor? If somebody abducted a woman on the side of I-459 at 9:30 at night, if there was an abduction that actually did in fact take place, then where is this urgency to communicate with Carlee Russell, with the Russell family, to find the person responsible for it? Again, at the last update that we had from police had not received a statement from Carlee Russell other than the very brief interaction that police had with Carlee Russell before she was transported to the hospital. To our understanding, there has not been a constant flow of communication. There really hasn't been a primary statement, if you will, a question and answer session between investigators and Carlee since that Thursday night and since Saturday night when she returned home on foot. So, and then of course, my second question is, of course, the abduction itself, and if an abduction occurred, if Carlee Russell saw a toddler, then where's the toddler? That's my second, obviously, biggest question. And look, there's a lot of questions being asked right now on social media in regards to whether or not Carlee Russell did in fact get abducted and whether or not she did in fact see a child on the side of the road. These are major questions, but grateful that I can get at least some context here, some answers from my friend Jennifer Coffendoffer, who just came into the WFLA Now Zoom room. Jennifer, hey there, welcome.
How's it going, JB? Thanks for having me.
I'm good, my friend. How are you hanging in? You all right?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you back on stream. You've been following this story. I was just asking the two biggest questions of all to me, and we're about to get to hashtag HeyJB, and we can now introduce hashtag HeyJennifer interactively into our comment section. I'll start to look for these questions coming in now on YouTube Live, Jennifer. But I want to again bring up the fact: was there an abduction? Where is this urgent search for the abduction suspect? And what happened to the toddler? Was there a toddler?
Well, JB, in all seriousness, this is one of these cases where the initial evidence that we can see could point in a few different directions, right? I mean, this could have been a health crisis, mental health crisis. This obviously could be a hoax. And there is some possibility that this actually could have been an abduction. But as we get more and more revelations, I think that percentage of that being the situation is falling off the map.
I think what's really interesting to me is this new nugget of information, Jennifer, about the stop at Target and picking up snacks, but then those snacks weren't found in the vehicle. So that, of course, is a very curious tidbit, because what happened to those to the snacks, of course, is a major question right now on social media, and also too the idea or the theory, people asking a very fair question. If somebody, is it possible that she was tailed from the Target, that somebody who saw her and for whatever reason that they had, tailed her and tried, but then at the same time pulling over on the side of the interstate? There's just so many moving parts to this story that it's difficult to add up what exactly happened Thursday night.
Well, and interestingly enough, we have this traffic cam footage, which you think could answer all the questions, but it doesn't, because there's a hiatus in time. There's a car seen at 9:04 with his blinker on in the right-hand lane as if to go onto the shoulder. There's some movement and things that happen way before the scene, and we don't really have what happened well after the initial pullover. It's interesting that she pulled over at a specific mile marker, although supposedly the description of where the toddler was further up the street. Again, no one sees the toddler but her. That's an issue. And of course, we have no missing toddler that we know about from law enforcement.
The time is now 3:00 Eastern. Welcome into the Stream Center here, folks, on WFLA Now with retired FBI agent, law enforcement analyst, friend of News Nation and WFLA Now, Jennifer Coffendoff, joining us here on Stream. We're about half an hour away from that Hoover press conference, and I'm keeping my eye. Comments on the left. When I'm looking this way, it's because I'm looking for comments. On the right, it's because I'm looking for any active feeds of the room where this press conference is going to be coming in, because we're going to be switching to it here as soon as it comes up in our feeds. I want to start to get to some of the questions and the comments that are coming in. You can use hashtag HeyJennifer. You can use hashtag HeyJB. Shauna wants to know, for both of us, do you find anything odd about the parents' interviews? And let's remind that Carlee Russell's family has been very, and look, when we have missing persons cases, Jennifer, you know this, I know this, sometimes parents are, work very, very visible and very, very public. Other times, you don't see too much of them just because of really their worlds being turned upside down. In this case, it's kind of been somewhere in the middle. Of course, the Russell family has been very public, being there as far as the ongoing search efforts Thursday, Friday, into Saturday, but also as well doing selective appearances, including on News Nation, with NBC News as well. What do you have here for Shauna's question?
Well, I have a couple of things. First of all, I did not like the fact that they said she gave a statement. And actually, when she says that, if you look, she kind of looks down at the ground, which is just, a telltale sign for us, typically, that maybe they're not being truthful. So I didn't like that she had said that, the mother. I did feel like she was very emotionally upset. I feel like it was a moving interview from that emotional aspect. I don't think she was faking any emotion. But why? Why the emotion? No matter what turns out in this situation, whether she was abducted, whether this is a mental health crisis, or whether it's a hoax, if I were a parent, I would be upset and in tears as well.
Yeah, it's a reminder, folks, that the parents are doing the very best, obviously, with the hand that they have been dealt, and no parent ever wants to be, searching for have their child be the focal point of what was a manhunt for a while, a massive missing person advisory that was issued out of Central Alabama. But I'm sure that they are so relieved, and they have been thanking people for all of course, the goodwill, all of the just all the efforts as far as helping to find Carlee Russell safe and sound. Elizabeth, I wanted to spotlight your comment because your comment sums up the way that a lot of people feel about this story. People who are saying that they're not judging, but just something here with this story, Jennifer, to a lot of folks on social media just doesn't add up. It doesn't feel like a 2 + 2 = 4 kind of story. Just something isn't right, or something is missing that we don't know, because everybody just wanted Carlee Russell to be okay. As we understand it, she is okay. But the public, Jennifer, has a right to know whether or not there was an abduction that took place, because you don't want a second or a third or a fourth abduction to happen. They also have the right to know whether or not a toddler was wandering on the interstate at 9:30 at night, or wandering on the side of the interstate. Let me ask you this question, launching off of what Elizabeth and others are saying in our comment section. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Do you find it odd that there hasn't been a lot of an initial a main statement that has been provided from Carlee Russell to law enforcement, that they are still waiting to really sit down and ask her about the experience?
Well, I do find that odd. That is the number one place law enforcement is going to want to start, and that is with the victim. That's the first, right out of the gate. You want to get their statement down and you want to understand it. And then, of course, right after that, you're going to be poring over that video surveillance. You're going to be looking at all of the timestamps in terms of her phone, that digital evidence. What did she do leading up to this? What text messages were made? What happened that day at work? Was there anything that could have precipitated this? Was she followed? Does she have any enemies? Just all these questions you're going to want to have answered. And it's odd to me that the victim, if again, they're able to, psychologically and physically, why is she not giving a statement?
It's just, I feel right. We want, of course, to find out exactly what happened, but also too, folks, and I know there are people in the comment section that feel this way, Jennifer, we're just so grateful that we're not here on this Wednesday still talking about her being missing. That is so often the reality for so many other families that go through this experience, where they go from week 1 to week 2 to week 3, and there's just this crippling amount of uncertainty that exists. Just again, let's remind our audience, at least from my perspective, I can speak for myself. I know Jennifer, I'm sure, feels the same way. We're just so grateful that Carlee Russell is okay, but people want to know about what happened, whether there was an abduction, whether or not we have to be really boots on the ground looking for a missing toddler. If that was in fact what she saw, then who is that toddler? Who is responsible for that toddler, and what are they doing on the side of the interstate, Jennifer?
Well, JB, let me first address what your point was, which was so excellent and exactly how I feel. I thought it was so interesting that everyone was so concerned. Money poured out, people poured out, social media blew up because everyone wanted Carlee found safe. And then I thought it was very interesting 2 days later, when all the prayers were answered, that everybody was so quick to accuse. And I really hated seeing that, because at the end of the day, as you just said, we're not looking for her and we didn't find her deceased. To me, that's a great day. And anything, if there is a hoax found, that's a separate issue. But the main thing is this woman is alive and well. So I'm so grateful for that. As far as the child, let me just even teeter off of that a little bit more. How about the fact that if we have somebody who could abduct Carlee, they could abduct anyone. So why aren't we seeing a bolo? Why aren't we seeing police asking for community help in terms of identifying the person that would have been described? Why aren't we notifying as a safety consideration? So all of that put together is leading me, of course, to what is leading, the belief of many people, I think, and that is there was no abductor.
Well, I guess I'll just say this. As a newscaster, I'm so used to, at this stage in a story like this, to be talking about, all right, police are looking for a suspect, so-and-so height, so-and-so weight. Here's a possible thing, what they could be wearing, or this is a possible vehicle that they could be driving. We have nothing, absolutely nothing to go by based on a potential abduction taking place. And that it's not 24 hours after Carlee was found. We're talking about, we're now 4 days later. You know, she turned up Saturday night at her parents' house, and here we are. It's Wednesday, and we still don't know whether or not an abduction took place because it's all building up to this press conference that begins in about 20 minutes from now. We're close to getting our feed here calibrated, folks, so that we can bring it in here for you in the stream center. But yeah, I mean, let's go to Mary's question. #HeyJB. If she had seen a child, why didn't she stop right away? She drove along the shoulder for a long time. And this is that traffic video where you see, I believe you see her put her hazards on and you see her kind of, move along that shoulder for a long period of time. That is a bit of a curious observation. Is it not, Jennifer?
Well, in a way, but when you look at the totality of everything, remember, she left the restaurant where she picked up that food, and it was only about, I think, a 15 or so minute drive to where her car was left. And so there is this gap in time because it's a longer time than that. A lot of people believe that if she was indeed abducted and if she indeed saw a toddler, that maybe she saw the toddler was going 65 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour, like people do on the highway. You can't just stop, circled back around, and then proceeded on that shoulder, slowly looking for them. So that is at least out there in terms of a possibility.
Yeah. There's the video that we're talking about with the red circle there on her vehicle. Authorities would show up minutes later, and Carlee was gone. Her phone, her wig, her belongings all left there. And look, folks, it is peculiar to leave your phone behind. If something did, in fact, if there was a conscious reason to leave that area, to walk away from that area, leaving your phone, that your phone is everything, Jennifer. So the idea that her phone was left behind, her Apple Watch was left behind, but then the snacks weren't there. This is just a very sort of puzzling set of circumstances surrounding the discovery of the vehicle, the fact that the toddler wasn't there, that we heard the scream. Where exactly did that come from? And again, that she was on the phone, that she did the right thing as far as being a good Samaritan, calling 911, alerting authorities to the fact that she saw a toddler on the side of I-459. It's just, there's so many puzzling and potentially conflicting pieces of this story that just, to the commenter earlier who said there's just something that isn't right about this story, it's because I think a lot of people feel the same way. Just we're missing something here.
Well, and I do want to offer a possibility, right? It's been discussed. We talk about a possible mental health break, and I'm not trying to put that on her. I'm just trying to say that let's have that discussion because it's out there. It's being discussed. It's a possibility. And I have two extremely close friends, one that I've known for over 30 years, another one who actually is a part of the family. And they suffer from The Beautiful Mind. If the movie some of you have seen. And that movie, JB, is a true story. And it's truly where they use a different part of their mind and things that aren't real become real. So in other words, could she in her mind, if this was this situation, thought she was told by the abductors, leave your phone, leave your Apple Watch, whatever, we're taking the food. You're coming with us. I don't know. I know this seems so far-fetched for many, but I literally know somebody, one of these people I'm naming, who was an ER doc, very well educated, an amazing individual who had a break due to not taking his medication, ended up in Australia, homeless, thinking that the Chinese government was chasing him down and had to be, literally thought that. I have a 26-page letter from him, begging for the FBI's help. So I'm just saying things like this do happen. The Elkins case, we know about the Elkins case, he's a missing person to date who is still suffering, feeling like somebody's chasing him. I'm not saying that happened here, but it has to be a conversation.
Yeah, no, it does. And we talk, Jennifer, we talk about mental health on stream all the time. And if something did in fact happen, it has to be stated again, being responsible here, that was something that was always on my mind over the course of this story. How many times, look, there's a lot of times in the news where you hear about, where in our newsroom, we hear about somebody that is experiencing, something related to mental health, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't become a national news story like this. It happens all the time, people. Mental health needs to be talked about more on channels just like this. And I'm glad that Jennifer introduces that into the conversation, but it has to be stated here, being responsible as well. We haven't heard anything about any past with Carlee Russell having anything in regards to mental illness or having or struggling with her own mental health. So if something happened more recently or very suddenly in regards to her mental health, that could be the part of the story that we're just completely unfamiliar with here, that we just don't know about at this stage. But I have to state that there hasn't been, police didn't put out an alert, or the family in their interviews nobody's ever stated that she has previously suffered from any mental health issues. So that would be either something that we haven't known up until this point, or is something that has suddenly come about in the last week or so. And so that is very much a possibility here, that whether or not she thought that she saw something. But look, we don't know. Based on all accounts, Carlee Russell was and continues to be somebody who is admired, and somebody who left a good impression on a local police department as well recently. That was also part of the story as well. So exactly. I just hope that she's okay. I'll say that again. I just hope that from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, or an emotional standpoint, I just hope that Carlee Russell is doing okay. But the public wants to know exactly what happened to her, and wants to know if an abductor or if a toddler is still out there.
JB, I also wanted to bring up something interesting. The story you just talked about, her interface with law enforcement, and them publicly stating how positive that was. Not that she came down to the station, but they had interaction with her.
Yep.
I had posted a tweet about that, JB, very, very early on. And today I went back to pull that up because I wanted to reread it. It's gone.
Oh, interesting. So
law enforcement, it's not on their website anymore, on their Facebook page.
Oh, so are you saying that they withdrew that statement?
I'm saying it's not there. When I went back on and I followed that link, it said it had been removed, or whatever the Facebook terminology is. You might look since you're there with your computer.
Yeah.
But I went onto my Twitter, which had the link to their statement, which had been on for several days, and just in preparation for all the reporting today on this case, I wanted to relook at that statement, and it was gone. The link did not link anymore. So you might take a double check on that.
I'm telling our team out in the newsroom, which is located that way, just telling them to look. I'm keeping my eyes peeled right now, Jennifer, to look out for the actual press conference, because we're getting close. We're about 15 or so minutes away, but I've let our team know to be on the lookout for exactly what you're talking about. Folks, we're going to reset our stream in a few minutes to also launch on Facebook Live. If you're joining us on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, YouTube Live, you don't have to go anywhere. We're going to have the press conference in about 12 to 13 minutes from now. The shot is going to be coming in here shortly. But let's get to some comments here in the next few minutes. Let's see. Looking here. Madri says, was her Apple Watch able to be tracked? That's very interesting. So Apple Watches sometimes have tracking turned on, just like any device. Sometimes the Apple Watch will have tracking turned on. Sometimes it won't. They have GPS and cellular technology, many of the newer models, but we don't know whether or not there was tracking activated, right, Jennifer, on our actual Apple Watch. And that Apple Watch was found in the vehicle.
Well, that's the problem, right? They're going to know, and they've already stated her steps that she took, what she did pre-announcement, pre-911, pre-abduction. But because the Apple Watch was left, I believe, in her purse inside the car, it's not helping them. just like the phone was left on the side of the road, it doesn't help with what happened over that 48 hours. And of course, the thought process is, JB, was that purposeful?
Mm-hmm.
Did she take that Apple Watch? And I remember in the footage I saw before anything happened, I saw her with the Apple Watch on, in other words, in photos.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems that she had her watch on, at least in the photos that I viewed.
Right.
But she put it in the car, doesn't have the phone. So no, she wasn't able to be tracked. Back to the question. And by the way, your viewers always have great questions.
Right. Yeah, no, we have our audience here that they know how to ask good questions, and they know that I try to bring up just good questions out of our comment section, and also ones that carry the conversation forward, not even just questions, but comments like from Lori B. Hashtag, hey, Jennifer, sharing some love for you, Jennifer. What are the legal repercussions if it turns out she made false reports and staged everything? And I want to make it clear there is no evidence at this time that there was some hoax, if you will. But this is a question that people are asking right now on social media, Jennifer.
Yeah. So hypothetically speaking, if she did stage this, if it was a hoax, she'd be looking at two different possible charges. Or both, false statements and false reporting. Now, in other words, false statements that would have been made on that 911 call, and false reporting, anything to do with a report. So it's the same set of facts, but one is a misdemeanor and one is actually can be up to a felony in Alabama. I actually reviewed the case law and the law on this just in preparation for these interviews, because every state is different. Some are felonious, some are only misdemeanors. So she could be facing those charges that could lead possibly to a felony.
Let's go to really quickly, folks. We'll come into the Stream Center here and show you what just came into the Stream Center. Lori, thanks a lot for your comment. We're going to put your comment away here for just a moment. And we're going to tap the touchscreen and take you here to Hoover, Alabama. The shot is up, and so this is where the press conference will be taking place in less than 10 minutes from now. Jennifer, how long? You're sticking around with us for another 10 minutes or so, right?
Yes, 10 minutes.
Okay, great. So what we're going to do here, folks, is we're going to quickly reset to go live across all platforms here on WFLA Now. We're going to be launching on YouTube, Facebook. We're already live on YouTube. We're going to be launching on Facebook Live, TikTok Live, and a couple of other places as well. Stand by, back in 60 seconds.
WFLA Now will begin momentarily. WFLA Now will begin momentarily. Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JB Buno.
The Carlee Russell mystery. We are closer to answers. What exactly happened to the 25-year-old Alabama woman who vanished for more than 2 days after she said that she saw a toddler on the side of I-459 in Hoover, Alabama? Well, Hoover police, they have called a press conference. We're here live in the Stream Center, and we're going to show you here in the Stream Center the feed that just came up, folks. We're going to go live to Hoover, Alabama to show you the podium here. This press conference will be starting momentarily at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. So if you have found us here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, TikTok Live, WFLA.com, or the WFLA app, you have come to the right place. We're going to be here live really up until that press conference begins, again with the Hoover Police Department. Let's bring in our guest expert joining us here on stream, retired FBI agent, current News Nation law enforcement analyst Jennifer Coffindoffer joining us here on stream. Jennifer, what are you expecting that we learn in this press conference that starts in just a few minutes from now?
Great question. We're going to learn one way or the other what happened. We are going to learn whether this is a hoax, whether it was some sort of mental crisis, or whether indeed there is somebody out there that abducted her, and they're going to put the community on notice that, listen, there's somebody out there and we need your help, and be safe.
Is there any...
One of those is going to happen.
Right. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Is there any... Okay, so the potential scenarios here, we're going to learn about an abduction. We're going to learn about a, maybe perhaps some sort of mental health episode that occurred. We're going to learn about something that was very deliberate, or we're going to... Or is there any chance that police come up here to the podium and say that the investigation is ongoing and we just called this press conference just to basically meet the demands of the media?
I don't think so. They've had long enough, JB. They've had long enough to decipher everything that happened on that video before and after. They're going to have ring cam footage. They're going to have video from her entering the neighborhood and going up to her parents' door. They've interviewed, we know it's been made public, the individuals at her workplace. They're going to have looked at the digital forensics from her phone, from the computer at her work. They already know, I believe, what happened, and we're going to hear about it.
Do you think that they have finally spoken to Carlee? Jennifer, you have me? Oh, I think we might have lost you. Oh, we might have lost you. Auto mute might have happened. Oh, hold on. We'll try to get you back, Jennifer. Again, Jennifer Coffindoffer joining us. Can everybody give me a quick audio check, thumbs up on stream? Or did we completely lose audio? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Because
there?
Oh yeah, no, I got you now. Hopefully our audience can hear.
So weird.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Welcome to the world of live streaming, folks, where sometimes just for no reason at all, you just have audio problems. Jennifer, I don't know if you heard the question, but again, we're talking about the chances that we're going to learn something significant here in the next few minutes.
Yes, I think we are. Again, I think we're going to have some direction from law enforcement as to whether this is an abduction or whether it's not. And I think they're going to provide detail. And the reason they're going to be able to is they've had plenty of time to conduct their investigation and make a conclusion.
Yeah. And again, there's really two scenarios here, folks, that are present, at least on my mind. Scenario one, an abduction took place, and there needs to be obviously a search, a manhunt, if you will, for whoever is responsible for that abduction. Or scenario two, where there wasn't an abduction, and people are going to want to know exactly what happened on the side of I-459 and why did Carlee Russell vanish in those moments between the 911 call that she placed when she claimed to see a toddler and between, of course, law enforcement arriving there on scene. I'll do my very best to answer as many questions and comments using hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJennifer. As I look over here, I'm looking at the scrolling comment section, looking for those comments as we have just a couple of minutes. Jennifer, really quickly, put on your reporter hat for a minute. Let's say you're a reporter in the room. Oh, we lost you again. Oh, we might have lost you again. You got me, Jennifer? Okay, you got me now? Yeah, I feel like the Verizon guy. Can you hear me now? I haven't seen that. Whatever happened to the Verizon guy? Not entirely sure. Does he still? He went to Sprint, right? Okay, you got me now? Oh, no, she has to go. Okay, it's 3:28. She's saying that she has to go and she can't hear me. All right, Jennifer, thanks a lot for joining us here again on stream on WFLA Now.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Don't know what's going in and out, but I appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'll see you on News Nation. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
All righty. Jennifer Coffindoffer, folks. You'll see her tonight on News Nation. You might see her on some other channels as well. Let's go to the comment section here. And and people are asked, like Steve on Facebook Live, do you think it's a hoax or do you think it was an abduction? Look, we're going to find out from law enforcement. There's no point now and first of all, my opinion, I'm just here as a reporter to help present everybody with fact and also talk about what we know versus what we don't know. And at this stage in the story, police have not yet commented on there definitively being an abduction that took place. The law enforcement releases since Carlee turned up on Saturday night have been mostly vague with very few specifics. And a lot of the reason for that is because of a very significant missing puzzle piece here. When you have a situation like this, when a missing person advisory is canceled, one of the very first things or one of the most important things that will get conducted is that whoever's usually the lead investigator, one of the lead investigators on the case, will sit down with the person and say, what happened? Tell us, walk us through chronologically, step by step, what happened. And we'll ask, there will be a formal interview process. To our understanding, up until this point, according to police, they have not interacted with Carlee Russell since she turned up and gave an initial statement on Saturday night before she had to go to the hospital there, UAB Hospital, for treatment. She's been released since, but she has still not had interaction or that formal interview with law enforcement, at least based on the most recent communications that we have from the Hoover Police Department. If something has changed, we're about to find out about it. But what we've got to do now, folks, because the time is now officially 3:30 Eastern, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring up audio here. I have to stop taking questions and comments. What we are going to do is we're going to stay here with you live after the press conference to, go through exactly what we've learned and also to what we haven't found out and what remaining questions still persist. So after the press conference is done, don't go anywhere. Let's bring up audio here for the first time.
Mic check, 1 2. Mic check, 1 2. Mic check. Everybody give me a thumbs up. I just want to make sure we're good. Mic check, 1 2. Mic check, 1 2. We're in the city of Hoover, Alabama. 1 2 3.
All right.
Right at 2:30 now.
Always appreciate a good
Central
mic check.
Daylight Time. Everybody good? Everybody good? Mic check, 1 2. Mic check. We're getting very close. Mic check, 1 2. Mic check. You're good, Mike? Mic check.
You
You're
see
good?
her saying
You
that we're
good?
getting close. There's
Everybody's good?
a lot
You're
of
good, sir?
anticipation
In the
for this
great?
because
Okay.
so many days have passed since Carlee Russell turned up. People want to know what happened. Again, one of the big reasons why people really were
Mic
so
check,
honed
1
in on
2.
this story.
Mic check, 1 2.
I'm just going to mute for a second. One of the reasons that people were so honed in on this story was because, A, it was a missing person. It was a call to action. People just wanted to help find Carlee Russell safe and sound, but a good Samaritan as well.
Official 2-minute warning from
2-minute
right
warning.
now, okay? 2 minutes.
So that's the official 2-minute warning from Hoover Police. But again, it's a woman who called 911, says that she was doing the right thing by reporting a toddler on the side of the road, pulling over on the side of the interstate, getting out of her vehicle, checking on the toddler when a friend on the other end of the call heard a scream, and Carlee Russell vanished. There's been endless
check. 1 2.
speculation
That's good? Okay.
since then, but I think it would be helpful to everybody to put away for the next few minutes over the course of this press conference, put away all the speculation for a moment, because this is now an official police update that we are getting from Hoover, Alabama, where we're going to finally learn some answers as to what exactly happened to Carlee Russell in the 49 minutes that she was missing, the 49 hours, apologies, Freudian slip, 49 hours that she was missing, and what exactly went on during those 49 hours. And also, too, was there an abduction? Is there a toddler out there that we need to be searching for? What is actually the truth of what happened Thursday night into Saturday night? We're about to find out here. We're going to go full screen, folks. After this press conference is over, we're going to be taking your hashtag HJB questions and comments across all platforms and also trying to figure out the sense of what we have learned and separating fact from fiction. The very latest on this story on WFLA.com. We're now live across all platforms here on WFLA Now.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Frank and Pam Bearfield Training Center. I'm Captain Keith Sescaleba, that's spelled Keithczeskleba, with the Hoover Police Department. Joining me at the podium today will be Hoover Mayor Frank Brocato, spelled Brocato, and Hoover Police Chief Nick Derzis, spelled Derzis. You may also hear from Lieutenant Daniel Lowe, spelled Lowe, of the Hoover Police Investigations Division. Mayor Brocato will make a brief opening statement, and then Chief Derzis will read a prepared statement. After Chief's statement is complete, there will be an opportunity to ask a few questions regarding this investigation. Keep in mind that this is still an ongoing investigation, so there may be some questions that we cannot answer. With that, I will turn it over to Mayor Brocato.
Thank you and good afternoon for you all coming today. You know, 6 days ago our community learned about the disappearance of Carlee Russell, and it sent fear and pandemonium not just through our city but the entire state and the nation as well. The media quickly joined us to get the word out about Carlee. Our community sprung into action and they organized search parties, arranged prayer vigils, and they took other steps that I'm not even aware of to help in this situation. The Hoover Police Department quickly rallied multiple partner agencies, stopping at nothing to find Carlee. I'd like to take this time to say thank you first to the Hoover Police Department, our partner agencies, our wonderful community, and to all those that aided in some way in connection with this situation. As the days have gone on and more information has been shared, we know everyone has questions. The Hoover Police Department is known for being very methodical and thorough with their investigations. For that reason, we did not feel comfortable speaking in detail publicly until now. It is important that we share this information now so that our community can be put at ease. So at this time, I'll turn the microphone over to Hoover Police Chief Nick Derzis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank everyone for being here today. Besides me stands the team who played a significant role in this investigation. I want to thank our department, members of surrounding local law enforcement agencies, the FBI, Secret Service, United States Marshals, and ALEA for their assistance in this case. We said from the evening of July 13th, our focus would be the safe return of Carlee Russell. That occurred on Saturday, July 15th, approximately 49 hours after she called 911 and disappeared. From that point, our focus has been to determine Carlee's whereabouts during that time and what exactly took place. Let me say up front, this investigation is not over. We're still working this case, and we'll be working this case until we uncover every piece of evidence that helps us account for the 49 hours that Carlee Russell was missing. However, through the public interest, and in some cases, public fear that this story has generated, we owe it to our citizens to tell them the facts that we have uncovered. So I will give you the facts that we know today. On July 13th, at approximately 8:20 p.m., Carlee left work from a business at the Summit. Surveillance video from her place of employment shows Carlee concealed a dark-colored bathrobe, a roll of toilet paper, and other items belonging to the business prior to her departure. She ordered food from Taziki's at the Colonnade and traveled there. She then traveled to Target on 280, where she purchased some granola bars and Cheez-Its. From there, she remained in the parking lot at that shopping center until 9:21 p.m. when she drove to I-459. Carlee communicated on her cell phone with individuals known to her while on her path of travel up to the point of calling 911 at 9:34 p.m. And at this time, we will play the 911 call in its entirety.
Hi, I am on interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves. Oh, hold on. Where am I supposed to are you? I'm right next to the wasn't it?
Okay, so you're before the exit?
Yes.
Okay, and were you headed southbound or northbound? Like towards Tuscaloosa or towards 280?
Towards Tuscaloosa.
Okay, and was the child on the left or right side?
On the right side.
Were they walking northbound or southbound?
They're walking towards Tuscaloosa.
Walking southbound? Or how old do they look?
Like a toddler, like maybe like 3 or 4.
Did you pull over with them? Are you still with them?
Yes.
Okay, are you with the child right now?
No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though.
Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, what kind of car are you in?
I'm in a red Mercedes-Benz.
Is it a sedan or SUV?
SUV. I mean, it's a sedan. Sorry.
Can you put your hazards on for me?
Yeah, they're on.
Okay. Did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do they look like they're injured?
No, they don't.
Are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
They're white.
Okay. Is it male or female?
I think it's a boy, a little boy.
White male? Okay, so is he wearing clothes?
Yes.
Okay. What is he wearing?
It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper.
And you don't see any cars anywhere?
No, no cars anywhere.
Okay. All right. What's your name?
My name is Carlee Russell.
And you don't see any injuries on the child from where you're at, correct?
No, but I can't really see them that good.
Okay, try to keep an eye on them for the best that you can, because I don't want you to lose track of them.
Okay.
All right, and do they have shoes on?
No.
Shoes?
Not that I can see. I can't really see that one.
Okay. All right, I've got them on the way, okay? Just try to keep an eye on them, but the officers are on the way, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Carlee called a relative after speaking with the 911 operator. She went missing during that conversation sometime after 9:36 p.m. Traffic camera footage was obtained which depicted this portion of the incident, and that footage was analyzed as part of the investigation in conjunction with the 911 call and cell phone data to accurately determine the time frame. Carlee's 911 call remains the only report of a child on the interstate, despite numerous vehicles passing through the area at that time. No one has called to report that a child is missing, and the Hoover Police Department did not locate any evidence of a small child walking down the interstate. Data from Carlee's phone, including her Life 360 app, shows that she traveled approximately 600 yards in her vehicle while she was on the phone with 911, stating that she was following a child. 600 yards. That is 6 football fields straight, 600 yards. The Hoover 911 Center received a second call from Carlee's mother stating that a relative was on the phone with her when they heard Carlee scream, and then they had an open phone line. Hoover police officers arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of being dispatched, and several other officers arrived shortly. They located Carlee's wig and cell phone in the grass near the vehicle. Her purse was located in the front seat of her vehicle with her Apple Watch in the purse. The food she ordered for Tzatziki's was also in the car. The items she purchased from Target, as well as the items taken from her place of employment, were not in the vehicle, nor were they located anywhere around the scene. Hoover police deployed all available assets from the point in the search for Carlee. Additional resources were called in to include our own drone unit, crime scene investigators. Numerous detectives responded to the scene. Throughout the day Friday, officers from surrounding local and federal agencies assisted Hoover police in the search for Carlee Russell. Officers returned to the scene on 459 to conduct a thorough line search for evidence. K-9 teams from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department responded to check for any sign of Carlee, the child that she claimed to see, and anything else that could be considered evidence in this case. Those searches all turned up empty. Private citizens, including search parties organized by her family, friends, began looking everywhere that they could to find any trace. These searches took place throughout the day Friday and again on Saturday, yielding nothing. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 center receives a call from Carlee's residence stating that she returned home on foot. In subsequent investigations, detectives obtained surveillance footage of Carlee walking down the sidewalk alone prior to arrival at her residence. She was conscious and speaking with paramedics when she was transported to UAB. Detectives were able to obtain a brief statement from her prior to being treated and released. During the statement, she told detectives that while traveling down the interstate, she saw a baby walking down the side of the road and called 911. She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed. She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car, and the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She stated that the male was with a female. However, she never saw the female, only hearing her voice. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back. She said she was able to escape the 18-wheeler and fled on foot, only to be captured again and then was put in a car. She claimed she was then blindfolded but was not tied up because the captor said they did not want to leave impressions on her wrists. She said that they took her into a house and made her get undressed. She believes they took pictures of her, but she does not remember them having any physical or sexual contact. She stated the next day she woke up and was fed cheese crackers by the female. She said the woman also played with her hair, but could not remember anything else. At some point, she was put back in a vehicle she claims was able to escape while it was in the West Hoover area. She told detectives she ran through lots of woods until she came out near her residence. During this interview, detectives noted that Carlee had a small injury to her lip, and she claimed that her head was hurting. She also had a tear in her shirt. Detectives also noted that she had $107 cash in her right sock. Out of respect for Carlee and her family, detectives did not press for additional information in this interview and made plans to speak with her in detail after giving her time to rest. Detectives continue analyzing data from Carlee's cell phone that was left behind at the scene. We enlisted the help of the United States Secret Service in conducting this analysis. Part of what data includes several internet searches in the days leading up to her disappearance that I think are very relevant to this case. On July 11th at 7:30 a.m., the term, "Do you have to pay for an Amber Alert?" was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, "How to take money from a register without being caught," was searched. On July 13th at 2:13 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, "Birmingham Bus Station," was searched. On July 13th, 2:35 a.m., a search for a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville was conducted with a departure date of July 13th. On July 13th at 12:10 p.m., a search for the movie Taken, a film about abduction, was conducted. There were two searches related to Amber Alerts on a computer at Carlee's place of employment, including one regarding the maximum age of an Amber Alert. There were other searches on Carlee's phone that appeared to shed some light on her mindset, but out of respect for her privacy, we will not be releasing the content of those searches at this time. We've asked to interview Carlee a second time, but have not been granted that request. As you can see, there are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can provide those answers. What we can say is that we've been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statement made to investigators, and we have no reason to believe that there is a threat to the public safety related to this particular case. Thank you very much.
With that, we'll open the floor for some questions. Please raise your hand and I will call on you. Carol.
Chief, do you expect any charges against Carlee Russell in connection with the disappearance and in connection with what was taken from the Woodhouse spa?
Right now, our focus is to determine those 49 hours, so the investigation continues. So to be perfectly honest with you, that hasn't even entered our mind or been discussed.
One more question. Is it surprising to you that the family has not been cooperative in returning to the
Well, I think the family has stated to us that they didn't think that in her mental state right now, because of trauma of the incident, that she's not ready to talk, is what we've been told.
Go ahead, sir. Yeah, question for Chief. You stated that the abductor had orange hair. Was this abductor black male? Was it female? Black female? White female?
I believe it's a white male. Am I correct by saying that? Was it ever? Yeah, white male.
Is this alleged abductor yet on the loose in the Hoover area?
Don't believe so.
Yes, ma'am. Chief Brittany Gill, WBRC. Has a toxicology report been done, and were any drugs or illegal substances found in her system?
We have no report of that.
Is any indication of mental illness in this case?
Not that I'm aware of.
There's been a concern in the community that if this turned out not to be a true story, that the next time a young woman of color was missing, that it might not be taken seriously. How would you respond to that?
I'd respond to say that we investigate every crime to the fullest, just like we have this one.
Was she traveling with anyone? Excuse me. Was she traveling with anyone since the time she disappeared, to your knowledge?
And not to my knowledge.
Chief, I know you said you weren't able to verify a lot of aspects of the story. Where do you think she went, and how would you characterize what happened here?
You know, that's the $100 question. You know, we pretty much know exactly what took place from the time she left work until she got on the 911 call, and we can see getting out of the car on the interstate from that footage. And after that, I think she only knows. We don't know.
Well, one quick follow-up. Her parents. Did you speak with Carlee's parents, and why do you think it is they were so adamant that there was an abductor?
Yeah, I think parents are believing what their daughter's saying, and we've had a very good rapport with the parents, met with them on several occasions. I've talked to them today a few times, and to make them understand that we're under pressure from our community, not only in our community of the state, but nationally when the story hit. And I just wanted them to understand that today we were going to have a press conference, and what we were going to detail today are facts. And everything that I've told you today is actual facts. It's not innuendos. It's not what I think. It's not what these detectives think. It is the factual information that we have.
Chief, Ajay Robertson, WBRC. How much time do you think you'll give the family before going back to Carlee for a sentencing?
Well, I think our detectives have talked to the parents, and we're ready to talk as soon as she's ready. So, you know, she called right now. We're ready. How about unknown? You know, we know the facts that we have. Everything else is unknown at this time.
In the back. What have the past few days been like for you, your department? This has been a stressful search, hasn't it?
Well, absolutely. And again, the focus of the investigation that Thursday, when she went missing, of course, the focus was to get Carlee home. That's what we want all. We wanted her safe and sound, and that's all happened. And then, of course, this has gotten to be not only a local, state story, but a national story. So, you know, it's a lot of stress on everyone in the Hoover Police Department, and the mayor, to every citizen here. We want to know the truth.
As you stand here, are you frustrated?
I wouldn't say I'm frustrated. I mean, I'm very happy that Carlee's home. That was the main ingredient here, and then we'll figure it out. I promise you that. We'll end up figuring it out.
Any idea about the number of manpower hours or the expense of the drones and all the rest of the search that might have cost the city and the state and the federal government?
Yeah, we haven't had time to consider that, but it's you know, again, these detectives that are here, this is just a small group of people that have been associated with this case. We have put every available resource that we have on this case because we wanted to make sure that we found out everything. We wanted to get her home, and we have.
Chief, was there any prior indication of mental health problems?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can you just expand on the people from the state, federal resources brought in? What were they doing exactly as you all were searching for her? Can you just expand on that?
Sure. A lot of the from the FBI side, several agents helping us interview. I mean, as you well know, in a case like this, especially when it goes national, we got hundreds and hundreds of calls. And when you get those calls, some of them may just be outlandish, but you've got to follow up on them, because you never know that you may get that one tidbit. And I'd also say too that we had a great cooperation with the family. The family received hundreds and hundreds of tips, and every time they got a tip, they sent it to us.
Would you say a crime has been committed?
No, we have not determined that. No.
Keith Mims, WAGG 610 Summit Media. Question for Chief. With all of the searches that you mentioned, Chief, that were on Carlee's phone, does that kind of give you an indication of her mind state during this ordeal, the 48 hours
Yeah.
that she went missing?
Well, again, we want to talk in facts, and I do think it's highly unusual to the day that someone gets kidnapped, that 7 hours, 8 hours before that they're searching the internet, Googling the movie Taken about an abduction. I find that very, very strange, yes.
Yes. Do you feel confident, do your investigators feel confident that you know why Carlee Russell may have done this?
No, we do not know. Absolutely not.
Chief, can you explain for us, you mentioned that while at you said that Carlee was on the phone with 911, she was traveling 6 football fields, which tells you what?
Which tells me that I've had kids, and I'm sure a lot of people here have, and it's very, very, again, she said it, and I'm not saying it couldn't happen because I've always been one of these guys, never say never, but 6 football fields. I like athletics, I like football. 6 football fields. To think that a toddler, barefoot, that could be 3 or 4 years old, is going to travel 6 football fields without getting in the roadway, without crying, without any just moving down. It's just very hard for me to understand.
Chief, have you used any technology to enhance that video from 459, and did you see a man grab her?
We did not see, from what we can tell, we don't see anybody on the interstate other than her car and then someone getting out of her driver's side. We have sent that off to the FBI for enhancement. It has not been returned.
Do you think in this case that charges will be forthcoming towards Carlee Russell, and how serious of a crime is it to not only fabricate a 911 call, but to lie to law enforcement during an investigation?
Well, again, that's not something that we've been discussed since we're going through the still investigation. But, people have to understand that when someone says something like this, we put every available resource. Everybody comes together from, like I say, state, local, federal. It's just a lot of work, and the gentleman earlier said frustrated. I mean, it is a little frustrating to think that all this has been done and we can't find anything out.
Did anyone see her calling in from the side of the road when she made that 911 call?
No, not to my knowledge.
All right,
Last
so
question here.
Is this investigation held up until you can speak once again to Carlee Russell?
Well, there's a few things that we're still doing, but obviously we want to talk to Carlee as soon as we can and do an in-depth interview. And at that time, I think we'll have these investigators doing some other things. So
that's all the questions we're going to answer today. We appreciate you guys coming, and we'll be following up with y'all later. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, Chief.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JB Buno.
Carlee Russell claims she was abducted by a man who emerged out of the woods along I-459 Thursday night, but missing items, a troubling Google search history, and a lack of a second interview with law enforcement leave investigators and the public with doubts as to whether or not her story is true. Hello there, folks. JB here with you live on WFLA Now across all platforms as we try to process so much of what we have learned, but also so little as to what exactly happened Thursday night when Carlee Russell vanished alongside I-459, calling 911, claiming to see a white boy clothed walking along the interstate before a man emerged out of the woods, abducted her, took her back to an 18-wheeler, followed by a second recapturing, all leading up to her turning up on foot Saturday night at her home in Hoover, Alabama. Tremendous amounts of questions in our comment section. We're going to do our very best to go through them. And we're going to try, of course, to stay as fact-based as possible here, even though so many people have been commenting at me over the course of this live stream, sharing with me that they do not believe that Carlee Russell has been telling the truth as far as what exactly happened to her. This is still an open investigation. Hoover police are continuing to investigate, but right now they were very honest in their press conference in saying that they want to have another interview with Carlee. They want an opportunity to ask her more questions, and they have not been able to ask her more questions since they had communications with her on Saturday night when she turned up at her parents' house. We're going to go through a lot of what we just learned. I'm going to go through kind of the highlights here. But look, kudos to the Hoover Police Department. They shared a lot of their ongoing investigation and a lot that I'm on to multiple pages of notes. So I'm going to kind of give everybody the highlights, and then we're going to go to your comments, what people are saying out there. Here on WFLA Now, we're very, very cognizant of our comment section. We do not shy away from your social media comments. We want to be with you there in the social media comment section and speak to what you're saying out there. So interactively, we're going to do that with hashtag HeyJB momentarily. Carlee Russell is said to have left her, again, all this according to the press conference, said to have left work with a bathrobe and a toilet roll ordered from the Tzatziki's restaurant. She also picked up granola bars and Cheez-Its from a Target before she made the 911 call on the side of the road. Now, we heard the 911 call, and that was also unexpected as far as this press conference. The Hoover Police Department being very open and transparent and sharing that 911 call with the public and with the media. You hear her say on the 911 call that the boy was 3 or 4 years old. She said that she was very, seemed to be, in my opinion, listening to her, she seemed very calm as she made this phone call to 911. She was saying that she was staying in the car, that she was driving a red Mercedes-Benz. She indicated that her name was Carlee Russell. The 911 operator asked her to put her hazards on. That is often a tactic to help law enforcement identify a vehicle on the side of the road that they're looking for. After the hazards were put on, the boy was described as being clothed but with no shoes. And then, of course, we get the story about her abduction, but really have to point out there from the police chief that they have the Life 360 data that says that she was following the child on the interstate for 600 yards. It's a long way. If you use end zones, it's more like it's about 5 to 6 football fields, depending on how you look at it. They found the food there from Tzatziki's, but they didn't find the snacks from Target. They didn't find the robe in the vehicle, and they didn't find the toilet roll that she took with her. All very, of course, curious mentions here in this press conference. Now, Carlee's story. This is her story. Man coming out of the woods or out of the trees, taking her to a trailer of an 18-wheeler where she heard a female voice, a baby crying. Then she was able to flee on foot, but was captured again. She was taken into a house at that point. She believes that pictures were taken with her, that the woman was then playing with her hair before she turned up on Saturday night. She was able to get away in some capacity in West Hoover. Now, police, over the course of their investigation, looked into the internet searches, the internet search history of Carlee Russell. And those internet searches clearly are troubling as far as what we're looking at here. Googling, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert, about stealing from a register, about the age of an Amber Alert, about getting a ticket to Nashville, a bus ticket to Nashville on July the 13th, and then doing a lot of research on the movie Taken, according to law enforcement. And then law enforcement adding that they'd like to clarify a lot of what Carlee told them, but they have not been granted the second request for an interview. And they do not believe that a threat to public safety exists right now. Also, follow-up notes here from my notes, and then we'll get to your comments. No previous history of mental health, no determination that a crime has taken place. So a lot to break down here. We found out so much and also still know so little. But we have been asking you on YouTube Live, do you believe that Carlee Russell was abducted? And there's there is tremendous, that provides us, everybody, with an idea as to how many people believe Carlee Russell's story versus believing that she is not, in fact, telling the truth. And there is a whopping majority of people right now in our social media comment section, greater than 90%, who do not believe Carlee Russell's story, and that's based on just analytics that are unscientific and social media based, but it does help us get some clarity as to exactly how you're feeling out there. So we're going to start to take your hashtag HeyJB questions and comments here on social media, trying to parse through as many meaningful and thought-provoking, if you will, comments, but then really the questions are what we're looking for. So I'm going to ask this question for our audience. What are your biggest questions going forward? Or if you want to share your thoughts as to the Carlee Russell story, you can do so. Just please keep it clean. Use hashtag HJB. Please keep it clean. Share your opinion in a respectful way. The family, of course, is still caring for Carlee Russell, who is safe with family. Again, she has the family has denied law enforcement the opportunity for more of an interview, another round of interviews. Reason being is because she's, according to her family, suffered through a traumatic experience. And so, we're going to try to keep things as kind and as respectful in our comment section, even though I know that there is a lot of frustration in our comment section. So much goodwill that was poured out in Central Alabama to find Carlee Russell, when so many people in our social media comment section do not believe that the abduction story is true. So let's go to the comment section. We're here in the Stream Center, and on this screen right here to my left, if you use hashtag HJB, that means that you want your comment section or your comment to be animated on screen like this. We're bringing in comments from Twitter, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, TikTok Live. Eddie wants to know who is in Tennessee that she knows. Has that been revealed? I did not hear that question asked, Eddie. The bus ticket to Nashville is interesting. Whether or not she made it to Nashville in that time is unknown. But the fact that she was Googling a way to get to Nashville, and for those who've never been to Nashville, I've been to Nashville. It's a great town, place to have a lot of fun on Broadway. It's just a great community there in Nashville, Tennessee. But also a place that if you want to just kind of get lost in the crowd, so to speak, Broadway in Nashville, it's not it's not Times Square, but it's very populated with tourists. So if you were looking for an opportunity to go somewhere, have some fun, and just kind of get lost in the masses, Nashville's not a bad place in relation to Central Alabama, and not all that far away either. Sean Thompson, hashtag HJB. So what happens now? Well, the ball, so to speak, is now in the court of the Russell family. And I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. As a reporter, I can share. I do now interactive work here at WFLA. But before, when I was a reporter for 5 years in Alabama, I can tell you exactly what's going on right now in Alabama. Every reporter in Alabama, and really all the national outlets too, network news, they're all trying to get the Russell family to speak. Because now we have all this information from law enforcement. They're saying, we want to hear from the Russell family. We want the next round of interviews. We want to get to the bottom of what happened. And because of Carlee Russell experiencing a traumatic experience, she says, they have been denied that opportunity. So every journalist, every reporter in Alabama is trying to get a hold of the Russell family and trying to get them to speak. And I know now this gets very competitive in the news world. I could speak from being in that world. It gets extremely competitive because now people are going to have more questions, okay? And whoever gets, obviously, this interview with Talitha Russell, with the Russell family, with Carlee herself, that, of course, is going to be a significant next chapter of the story. But newsrooms are also being quite cautious, or at least the responsible newsrooms are being very, they're having conversations right now because based on what law enforcement is hinting at, if the story isn't true, they have to proceed with tremendous caution. So it gets highly competitive with an interview like this when they try to get a hold of the family. But at the same time, you hope that whoever does get that interview with the family or with Carlee herself, it's done with a sense of responsibility. And I would hope that the questions and the way that the story is presented to the public, I just hope that it's all done responsibly. But I know that the next chapter, Sean, to answer your question, is to provide people with now the Russell side of the story. But at the same time, the Russell family, you would hope that they're, cooperating with law enforcement in addition to cooperating with the media. That's what you would hope, because you can hear it in the press conference. They very much want to talk to Carlee again, get these details right, and get to the bottom of what exactly happened. And they haven't been able to do so up until this point, Wednesday, past 4 o'clock. This is very interesting. We need to get a lawyer on here to answer this question. Casey wants to know, can they charge the person who hid Carlee with a crime? Where Carlee went remains unknown. So if you believe the abduction story, she is said to have been in an 18-wheeler or then in a house, if you believe the story. If you don't believe the story, then either she did an extraordinary job camping out in the woods, avoiding all the search efforts and the search parties, or she went somewhere and somebody aided her. And knowingly, because in Central Alabama, I know I was working the phones, trying to get a hold of people, talking with people about this story. The amount of people that were looking for her, businesses, church groups, individual community efforts that were organized. I mean, everyone was looking for Carlee. Everyone was looking for Carlee. And so if somebody did take her in, look, whether that person is held responsible is a big question, if you believe the story is not true. Linda wants to know, what is the distance between her house and where her car was? This is a great question. I don't have the answer to that question, but I know that she was within a few minutes of being home. So walking distance, you better believe it. Oh yeah. I can't say the exact number of feet. I can't give you latitude, longitude here, but I'm going to remove my jacket just because I've gotten a little warm here. But okay, so it's within a few minutes driving distance wise, right? So the idea, I mean, look, was she at a neighbor's house? I just, where exactly? This also provides us with context, you guys. It's very important to remind our audience of this. People were asking, my goodness, I was one of them on social media asking, when are police going to give an update? Law enforcement in Alabama, the Hoover Police Department, were giving Carlee the opportunity to heal from her traumatic experience and respond to their request for a second round of interviews so that they could go more carefully and meticulously, more carefully through what actually happened on Thursday night into Saturday night. That sounds to me exactly why we're getting this update on Wednesday and not Monday, because they're trying to get a hold of Carlee. The only one who can say for sure exactly what happened is Carlee Russell herself. So you're getting a lot of time elapsing between press conferences, and now we have a little bit of an idea as to why. Because the Russell family and Carlee herself, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of communication. And that, again, because of what they describe as a traumatic experience. But, man. T. Stuffsel. Hey, T. Hashtag HJB. What about the boyfriend who was so worried? Well, he's been posting on social media, so it'll be very interesting to see now. Look, this is now going to become this, okay, who's going to post, who's going to, release a video on TikTok. This is how these stories work. But be mindful of, and I'm going to say this with every story that we cover. It goes back years ago to Gabby Petito. It goes all the way to now. This is a PSA that is general with all the stories that we cover these days. When they reach a certain point, when everybody's talking about that story on social media, be careful of deliberate attention, click-seeking behavior on social media. Again, be careful, be wary, be on the lookout for deliberately intentional posts, shares, retweets, social media activity that is aimed to get your attention, follows, and just activity overall. Just eyeballs, so to speak. It's this story, and it's every story that we cover here. People will use the fact that so many people are searching Carlee Russell on social media, on Google, as a means to lure you in, and fake accounts will pop up, even genuine accounts, people who are really behind these accounts, the actual people will make social media posts just to for their own reasons, to get attention or to seek social media activity. Just be wary of that, folks. I try to. It's very important to me that we always remind our audience of that. It's something I take. It's just at my core, something I really try to remind our audience of. Ask yourself, why is this person posting this? It's a fair question to ask of every social media post. Just got to hydrate here, folks. I'm going to read some of your comments. Yeah, the lights are bright in here today. I think I was writing so fast that I worked up a sweat. That might be a first for me. Writing down my notes are just scribbles of nonsense. You won't be able to read them because I'm just writing so fast during that press conference. My goodness. Yeah, I mean, look. Sin Miller saying the red hair, the bald spot, describing a very familiar person. It does sound very. Look. Let's be fair. The scene that Carlee Russell is describing sounds creepy, right? You're talking about, nothing against red-haired guys with bald spots, by the way. But I mean, being blindfolded, being in an 18-wheeler, hearing a baby screaming and having a woman play with your hair, a stranger play with your hair, someone who's perhaps been part of the abduction of you as an individual. It's just creepy. Just a creepy story. But creepy or not, the only thing that matters is whether or not it's true. And look, I'm reading your comments. Again, what we do here on WFLA Now that separates us from other news operations is that we're putting your comments up on screen. I have a scrolling comment section right here of your comments, and I can assure you most people do not believe Carlee Russell's story to be true right now. And you can hear it in the police press conference. There's tremendous doubt as to whether or not her story, just adds up. We said earlier, does 2 + 2 = 4? Well, look, it's just one of those stories where, was it made up? It's a fair question now to ask. Yeah. I've listened, Levi, I'm really grateful you asked this. I listened back, and police did not specify how she escaped her alleged kidnapper. They just said that she got away somehow. But this exact question, it was the only question that they were talking so fast, I had to go back for a second really quickly and double listen on one ear on live, and on the other ear I was listening to on a 2-minute delay, which is, I don't do that very often, but I had to for this question. There was no definitive specifics as to how she said that she was able to escape her alleged kidnapper. And look, if this is a story that was fabricated, there's a lot to learn from this. But I'm really grateful. One of the reporters, I don't know which one it was, one of the reporters in the room asked about the next time that this happens and whether or not there would be any change in protocol, any change in response or anything like that. Was in essence the question. And law enforcement, it's not going to be a boy who cries wolf situation. They are going to take every missing person situation very, very seriously. But if this is a fabricated story, this is troubling. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be completely honest. Can you imagine for 1 minute the rage that a parent of a currently missing person would feel with this story. Carlee Russell's name was everywhere. If the story is made up, if the story isn't true, there are going to be parents and loved ones out there of actually genuinely missing people who are watching all of the attention that Carlee Russell received and asking, my goodness, what do I have to do to get that level of attention for my missing loved one, when that was just all, again, in this hypothetical, not true. It's a Keely says toilet paper in the robe. Yeah, left her place of employment with a roll of toilet paper and her robe. But did she? I don't know if this was asked in the press conference. Mods, help me. Did they find the robe when she turned up? I think it's pretty fair to say she's not walking down the street with the toilet paper. Or, I don't know. What happened to the robe? Look, you're not going to find the granola bars and the Cheez-Its. Chances are over a two-day period, more than likely, those food items are going to be consumed. The toilet paper are going to be used. But the robe. Hashtag, where is the robe? Fair question. Did she turn up in the robe? The robe wasn't in the car. But she took it. Law enforcement knows that she took the robe with her. You're leaving with a robe. But what happened to it? Gilgo Beach, we're talking about pizza crusts. Carlee Russell, we're talking about a bathrobe. These stories, they have their twists and they have their turns. Colleen, hashtag AJB, where's the toddler? Well, in one of two places. The toddler is in a potentially very strange, bizarre situation that sounds creepy, I think it's safe to say, with a group in an 18-wheeler and then in a home in nearby Hoover, Alabama, or the toddler is in the imagination of Carlee Russell, one of the two. The toddler is either real and exists and is with the red-haired, bald spot guy with the lady playing with the hair, and those two, or the toddler. And that's also, it's really important. Even if look, based on your social media activity and the belief of the public, even if there is a small chance based on your feedback on this story, based on the small chance that this story is true, even if there's a small chance, law enforcement just they can't just stop investigating. Because if the story is true, then is that toddler in danger? And was that toddler part of a scheme to lure in a Good Samaritan? But again, it goes back to the comments and the very obvious doubt that persists now with Carlee Russell and her story. So, Colleen, and it's really in one of those two places. Hi, y'all. What happened with the Red Roof Inn call? Look, that was based on scanner traffic, and we do not know whether or not we don't know how the Red Roof Inn fits into the story. It's a great potential follow-up for law enforcement. Let's see here. Looking at some other comments. Yeah, a lot about the Red Roof Inn. People are asking, is the robe at the Red Roof Inn? Yeah, I called that Red Roof Inn. Or at least that's the one that's right there near the interstate in Hoover. Yeah, I called them, and there was activity, that night, that Saturday night, in relation to the Carlee, Russell search. But if a robe was recovered, well, look, let's point this out, and please, this is with all kindness to the Red Roof Inn. The Red Roof Inn is not going to be. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the Red Roof Inn is going to be handing out, robes to their guests, right? So if there is a robe that was left behind, that is very obviously a robe that you wouldn't get at the Red Roof Inn. It's very obvious to be a guest, a customer's robe that is left behind. If the robe is found at the Red Roof Inn, we're going down the rabbit hole now. I don't like going down the rabbit hole, but people are asking that in our comment section. And look, is there a potential sort of scenario where that all fits? And look, we have to be responsible here. I know that there are people who are screaming with capital letters in the comment section saying, JB, my God, it's so obvious that this story doesn't add up. But just like police have to be responsible, we as journalists have to be responsible. Tell you what we know, what we don't know, and we have to, as far as the information that we do know, we have to attribute properly and tell you where that information is coming from. And we can't say definitively, I can't look at you in the camera and say definitively that Carlee Russell was not abducted. We can't say that at this stage in the story until there is more information provided to law enforcement, until the investigation is carried forward. There are certainly signs, there are certainly things that police have released to the public that create doubt, and you could argue tremendous doubt. However, we cannot definitively state at this time that Carlee Russell was not abducted until we have more information either from the Russell family, from law enforcement, or a third party, period. So I know people are screaming off the top, screaming into their keyboards, but it doesn't change the fact that we have to go about this responsibly. So Expert Bro says, #HJB, where is the rest of the highway footage showing her being abducted? Well, look, it was dark out there, and I know that some people did enhance that video, but a man coming out of the woods, was it ever seen? I never saw any definitive piece of video that showed a man, let alone the toddler, but a man emerging out of the woods along the interstate and grabbing, a 25-year-old woman. Nothing that we have seen. But it was, you see it right there. Look, it's dark. Look at all of that. Now, I know that people have brightened it up and enhanced it, but it's just. Soul Spa University wants to know, #AJB, can they find the wrappers of the granola bars and like boxes? And look, I'm sure that if they came across, a trash bin somewhere that had granola bar wrappers and Cheez-It wrappers, that's going to be, of course, something that's pertinent to the investigation. But it is more, it's obvious. I'm just stating the obvious here. It's going to be easier for a detective to find a bathrobe than it is to find especially one that has a label on it for that, where Carlee got it from, as far as, her work. But it's going to be easier to find that bathrobe than it is to find a granola bar wrapper and Cheez-It wrappers. No doubt. So if I'm an investigator, I'm thinking, where's that bathrobe? The toilet paper could have been discarded very, very easily. But a bathrobe? Look. The bathrobe could be a significant piece of evidence. you know, Baybag says, hashtag AJB, isn't it strange that she appeared right at the 48-hour mark? Right there. I thought of this too, Bay. We talked on the Saturday live stream, and I remember saying it to the camera, I remember telling all of you, I said, there isn't some switch that flips at 48 hours where all of a sudden there's no hope to find that person after 2 days has elapsed. But it's certainly, the evidence is the research is clear that there's a drop off after 48 hours as far as finding a missing person. But it doesn't mean that there's no hope of finding that person. It just means that the hope is starting to lessen. And so whether or not it's coincidental or not that at the 49th hour, I don't know. But I bring up this comment because I thought of it too. We're all thinking the same thing. So I of course it crossed my mind, but is there any connection there? You can't say without hearing it from Carlee or the Russell family or investigators. And then Bay is following up. Doesn't it seem like she received some help? Did she? We don't know. It's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. But then who would help if Carlee Russell's story isn't true, if someone did assist, who is going to assist and not, again, this is why, super important that we bring this up, and this is for the future stories that we cover on WFLA now, future stories like this one. We delve into missing person cases a lot, but this is why the reward money is so important. So important. It's because somebody who might be just helping out, a woman in a scenario like this, the reward money might convince that person to come forward and share information. So I think it's really important that we remember that, the importance of reward money in a situation like this, but also it's important to not allow reward money to be used for nefarious purposes. Tobiah wants to know, is there deleted surveillance? I'd like to see the video of her walking down the street, reemerging on foot. They released the 911 call. We have the traffic camera video. But are we ever going to get the video of her just showing up on her block? That might be the next piece of digital evidence to drop, but we don't know until we have it from law enforcement. And they would have to have a very specific reason to release that at this point. Ray brings up a good point. Carlee forgot the highway had a camera. She said, 18-wheeler, I know where you... So the neighborhood itself, I understand this comment, Ray. I understand what you're saying. Chelsea. Well, what about the trucker who claimed to see a man over the car? That's a great point. And Chelsea, one of our moderators here on the WFLA YouTube page. It's a great follow-up question. Chelsea is exactly why you make a good reporter. Good follow-up question in the room, but you heard them. You heard the public information officer, the guy in the room who was saying, one more question, two more questions. It's their job to make sure that these press conferences don't go out of hand and that they stay on track and that the questions, that they get law enforcement, in and out of there. Their time is precious. So it was I would have loved to have seen more Q&A, but that's at the end of every press conference. I say, man, I would have loved for there to be more opportunity for reporters to ask questions. This would have been one of the good ones. Quiz, hashtag KGB, how did she have money if she was kidnapped? Yeah, the money in the sock. Not sure. Another peculiar detail about the story. Let's see here. Facebook Live, I got you loaded up here too. In fact, let's try to bring in some of the Facebook Live comments. And you know what? On the WFLAJB Facebook page, I actually forgot to load those comments in here. So let me see if I can bring that up. Sorry, you guys. I did not mean to forget about you. So on the WFLAJB page, I'm going to starting now, look at those comments coming in here too. Brianna, I don't, it's important to not connect dots until we can for sure say that there's a connection between those dots. So she's asking, speaking of the money in the sock, were police alluding to the fact that the money could have been stolen from a register due to her Google search? You can't put words in the mouth of law enforcement. So I understand those dots, they kind of make sense, right? But first off, stealing money from a cash register would be a crime. And they have not been able to determine at any stage in this investigation that a crime has taken place. So I think it would be, I think it would be a stretch to connect those dots, Brianna. I do. But you were paying attention to the press conference, clearly. Shout out to Cake's dad. I've been in Hoover. I stayed in Hoover one night, or no, a couple of nights. I was a reporter in Alabama for almost 5 years, so I know Hoover, know Birmingham. I was really down in Mobile, Mobile County, Baldwin County, the original home of Mardi Gras, by the way, folks. Fun fact. Mobile, Alabama. I was there for 5 years, so I know. I still have a lot of friends in Alabama, but yeah, no, Hoover's it's a great community. Nothing bad to say about Hoover at all, nor would I. But it's just a good town. Birmingham is just a great area. Central Alabama is just a great area. Where was that comment? Oh, did I lose it? Somebody was asking about the scream. Yeah, where did the scream come from? Where's the shrug emoji? You know what I'm talking about? We're going to go till 5 o'clock, you guys. So we have another 20 plus minutes here on stream. Just go over your questions. This is all about you from this point forward. We've done all of our reporting. The jacket's off. We're just having a conversation as if we were all at the local pub. Okay? Of course, I'm going to be speaking as a reporter, but everybody else in here, we're just going to try to make sense of the story here together. Man, I'll just say, look, there's a lot of comments. Some of them I can't even put up on screen. Just the amount of people that are acknowledging the potential damage done with a story like this, getting this much exposure and potentially not being true, being a fabrication, being a hoax. Our audience is intelligent. People out there are very cognizant of how this is going to reverberate. Look at all the celebrities, by the way. That was a shot from NBC. All the celebrities that shared this out. I mean, there was tremendous goodwill because we believed, and we still want to believe, that Carlee Russell was doing the right thing, something that all of us would do. We were talking about this previously. Would you stop on the side of the road to help a toddler in this scenario like this? And you want to get behind a good person doing a good thing to make a wrong situation right. And so for the thought of that being an attempt to take advantage of our goodwill, yeah, people are mad. If this is not, I mean, there are people who are convinced in our comment section that this story is just all lies, and that it was made up. And there are people in our comment section. I'm just being a reporter reporting on our comment section. There are people that are pissed, that feel like they were that good nature was taken advantage of, that they were doing everything that they could. Think about the people that were searching those woods, organizing community search efforts. If it's not true, and if this all doesn't add up, and there are people out there that are expressing a lot of frustration. The most responsible people out there as news consumers will keep an open mind and try not to definitively form an opinion one way or another, and go similar in the way. Look, the police press conference really was insightful, and we learned a lot because you saw the police chief walking a very slim tightrope where they presented everything and they hinted at the likelihood of this story just not being 100% true, if true at all, but also saying that we have a responsibility to do our work and our investigation, keep an open mind, and try to get to the bottom of this. So I encourage people out there to try to do their best to have an open mind, similar in a similar fashion as law enforcement, where you can form your own opinion. Of course, that's what you do. You're going to form an opinion regardless of what I say with the guy on stream with a microphone in front of his face. I get that, but also just preaching responsibility and trying to understand all the different sort of puzzle pieces on the table, and try to understand all the different potential scenarios, including the chance of there being a mental health component to this case. Try to with everyone wants to just have their opinion and definitively state that I know this is exactly what happened, but try to also have an open mind and think about the other scenarios that are potentially at play here too. I don't want to. Some comments, I'm just. I want to put it up. I know where you're coming from. I know you mean well. I just can't for various reasons. I can't. But I see a lot of your comments here, folks. Tara says, whoa, small. I thought it was strange the 911 operator didn't try to stay on the line until police arrived. I know that it has nothing to do with, let's see here, with the actual case. Just thought it was strange. I'd imagine that lady felt terrible not staying on the line with her. Look, a 911 operator can only do so much. But yeah. Certainly it's a component to the story, no doubt. Joe John, salute to truckers out there, says, I'm a trucker. We can't fit in those neighborhoods. Yeah. What Joe John is referring to are the neighborhood streets. There's the interstate, there's the woods, and then on the other side of the woods there's a neighborhood. And you're not getting an 18-wheeler on those streets. No way. No how. Can you imagine on like a small, relatively narrow residential neighborhood in the suburbs of central Alabama seeing an 18-wheeler pull up in front of your house? It's already noticeable when you get the Amazon or FedEx or UPS truck on your street. Can you imagine an 18-wheeler pulling up on your block? It's just not going to fit. It's not going to happen. It's not realistic. So that is also a part of the story that is a bit peculiar. And it didn't, as far as the story that Carlee Russell's provided in her statement to law enforcement, her initial statement, if she was put in the back of an 18-wheeler, it certainly didn't happen on the interstate because there would be video evidence and witness evidence pointing to that. So there are things about the story that, again, we talked earlier about how 2 + 2 has to equal 4, and it just doesn't feel that way to a lot of our commenters. And believe me, I get it. Angela, hashtag HeyJB on Facebook Live. I don't understand how anyone thinks they can do something like this and believe it will not come back on them. If, again, hypothetically, if this story is not true, how accountability is approached and how law enforcement goes about accountability with this story. Look, it's going to be an important chapter should it go down that path, because it will inform the public as to what happens if you do decide to intentionally deceive law enforcement. If the story isn't true. Again, I have to repeat that 50 million times. You could probably do a supercut of me saying if the story is true, but I have to be responsible on stream. Keep in mind, our stream audience, many of them will come in for a few minutes and will leave. We have the numbers that show that a lot of people will just kind of come in, hang out for a little while, and then they'll leave. So if you see a snippet of what I say without seeing the entirety of the live stream, things can get taken out of context. So that is why on live stream I have to constantly repeat myself. It is for the revolving door of audience members that join us. All right, quick break for water. Megan says Google searches seem pretty incriminating. They certainly tell a story. They certainly point in a certain direction, but you're not going to be charged with a crime for Googling what she did. So it certainly seems as if there's a troubling pattern. Again, let's review. Let me go to the notes. Review what she searched on Google. Again, according to law enforcement, Hoover Police, they say that that she was searching for whether or not you have to pay for an Amber Alert, stealing from a register, the age of an Amber Alert, and then looking for a Birmingham to Nashville bus ticket on July the 13th. That's that night. And did a lot of research about Taken, the movie. Liam Neeson, right? It's Liam Neeson, right? How many Takens did they do? My goodness, they did a lot of Taken movies, right? It was 3 or 4. I only see 3. Yeah, that's a movie about an abduction that, of course, Liam Neeson's character in the movie is a dad, and I believe his daughter is abducted. I believe internationally, right? I'm just trying to remember. I haven't seen the movie in years, but if I remember correctly, the movie, yes, a synopsis: retired CIA operative named Brian Mills crosses the globe to rescue his 17-year-old daughter after she is kidnapped by a group of Albanian smugglers while traveling in France. Yep. So I haven't seen it in forever. Samantha, your comment just gets on screen, and I don't even have to state it. I'll just throw it up on screen because people very much agree with you. I know our audience enough to know that people feel the same way as you do. In this case, maybe even literally, because if that video is enhanced enough to where you can really see that traffic video, then this comment from Samantha carries literal meaning. Oh. This is also why interactive journalism is my I'll never go back to, or at least I don't want to, go back to standard TV work. It's questions like these. Very interesting question, is it not? Audience? Mia asking, was there a GoFundMe? I don't remember seeing like an official GoFundMe, but I know that funds were raised, right? Was there a let's yeah. Well, Crime Stoppers raised a lot of money. AL.com reporting that Crime Stoppers raised more than $60,000. And they're refunding that money. I remember seeing this, that they were going to refund that money after the Carlee Russell situation came to, or the missing person aspect of the case came to a conclusion on Saturday night. They released a statement. The investigation is still ongoing, and accordingly, there is no basis to refund any I'm sorry. On Monday afternoon, they announced that they were no longer going to go forward. Excuse me, I'm a little catching up here. My brain is a little melted after covering this story so much in so many details over the last few days. On Monday afternoon, they announced that they were no longer going to provide those refunds for the $60,000 plus that was, collected by Crime Stoppers. And their statement was, this investigation is still ongoing, and accordingly, there is no basis to refund any contributions at this time. Furthermore, the Hoover Police Department has not requested for any donor contributions to be released or refunded. So, but was there... I don't remember seeing a official GoFundMe. I'm sure that copycats tried. They always do, to fool the public, but Mia, yeah, great question. Yes, Sonia. Carlee was taken to the hospital almost immediately after she was recovered at her house. She was treated and released. Oh, she did have a small injury to her lip. Where'd that injury come from? Another part of the story. How did she injure her lip? Wow. Barley hops on YouTube Live. That is a very interesting theory. I have to keep the train on the track, so to speak. It's an interesting theory, but we have certain rules here about putting comments up on screen that are theory-based. When you ask as a question, it's a little bit different. But when you throw out a theory, even a theory that is plausible like that, that could be considered plausible, there's still we have a responsibility to our audience to stay fact-based. Interactively, we could go down the rabbit hole very deeply and go into crazy hypotheticals, theories, and certain, could this have happened? And oh my God, I think that happened. But we have to be responsible here. But I will say, for what it's worth, that is something that I had seen previously on social media, just as far as people trying to figure out what could have happened in this story. But we have no evidence or information at any point to suggest that is a potential for what exactly happened, a potential outcome. Lico says, #KJB, I want my money back. I donated and I'm upset. Lori says, #KJB, take that $60,000 and help find the truly missing. Yeah. How about a poll on YouTube Live? Shall we? Poll. What should happen to that $63,000 collected in the Carlee Russell search. Let's give some options. 1, refunded. 2, to Lori's comment, use it for missing persons cases. Add option 3. Nothing. They keep it. Other. Tell us. We'll end our stream with this poll. So if you're joining us on the WFLA YouTube page, you will see this poll pop up. And we can ask what you think is the right thing to do for that $60,000 that was raised. Should it, Lori is saying, keep the money. Maybe there's another very prevalent missing persons case in Alabama that could benefit from it. Others are saying, no, I want my money back. It was for Carlee Russell. Carlee was found. I want my money back. I don't think anyone's going to really say just nothing, keep it, but I had to provide that option because it could happen. They just say, you know what? Those were donated. That's now our money, and it's part of your contribution. And then others, if there's another potential idea of what they would do with that money. To tell you the truth, folks, 60,000 as far as the state goes, it's not. It might sound like a lot, but it's not a ton of money when you're looking at what the state spends on enforcing the law. Just it's not. Seems like a lot, but it's a lot to one person. A reward amount, like, wow, $60,000 if I can help find, Carlee Russell, or if I come forward with information that finds her, yeah, that'll raise an eyebrow or two. But to the state, $60,000 is a relatively, when it comes to the amount of money that is spent on law enforcement and on missing person cases, cold cases, so on and so forth, it's just not a big chunk of change. So we'll leave this up for a few minutes and we'll end our stream. We'll try to get to about 5,000 or so votes with the audience that we have. Welcome in, by the way. Welcome into the Stream Center. A little bit of overtime here as we conduct our last poll before we end out our coverage. Lori, thanks for your comment. It helped lead to a poll. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter. What else we got in our comment section? Let's see what we got people saying, talking about, asking about as we wait for these poll votes to come in. Christina, can she legally avoid answering to law enforcement? Can they make her tell her story? You don't have to speak to law enforcement. If you're subpoenaed or if there is an official court-ordered document presented that, if a judge signs something where you are ordered to speak to law enforcement, then look, then of course it becomes a different case, and then it's about pleading the fifth and so on and so forth. So, but can they legally right now? Yes, she's exercising her American right to at least remain silent for now. She has a very good reason based on the optics of the story. And that reason is very simply that she's traumatized from the event and she's not ready to speak. But, Eric Lewis says she left a pretty obvious trail of crumbs. Do you think this was a cry for help? Was she experiencing something related to a mental health episode, and was she having a mental health crisis? And this was put together to come back on camera to make this clear. If you have a mental health crisis in your life, there are people who will help you. You do not have to orchestrate something elaborate that is potentially dangerous to get attention. Just go to someone you love and you trust and talk with them. And if you are just a person who doesn't feel that there is somebody in your life like that, there are hotlines. Moderators, please help me out. Michelle, Chelsea, others, Dee. If you guys can copy and paste some resources in our comment section, that would be great before we wrap up here. There are hotline people, organizations dedicated to helping you out. Okay? So you don't need to do something elaborate. You do not need to do something in this sort of territory. Talk to somebody, whether you know them or if it's an organization like where you need to call a hotline. You will get your help. You will get that help that you need. It's our responsibility to tell people that. So if it was a cry for help, I would hope that look, based on all indications, it seems like the Russell family has been very supportive of her. But again, that's just outside looking in, and we don't know how she was raised and what her life has been like. But Studio 310, hashtag HJB, do we know if anyone else saw this toddler? Still at this stage, the only person who saw a toddler on the side of I-459 is Carlee Russell. There is not a single secondary report of note from a law enforcement standpoint. How many votes are we up to in our poll? 3,000. Okay. Hey, Facebook Live. Hop over to YouTube Live if you'd like and vote in our poll. And the numbers are shifting a little bit. The numbers have changed since I last checked. So just giving everybody the opportunity here to vote. We're trying to get to roughly 5,000 votes, and then we'll look at it. Oh, T-Jax claims is according to one of our commenters saying that Carlee's mom put out a statement advising that they didn't authorize any GoFundMes. This is a responsible move, and you would hope that a lot of families would do this, that the family will put out and say, look, we don't have any official means of contributing, even though that there's so many good-natured people out there. So please do not fall for any scams, gimmicks, schemes, traps that exist out there. Oh. Looking. Okay, this one. Okay, so sorry guys. Some of the comments I haven't even had a chance to read because they're so long. Trying to read as many as I can. All right, so this one's short enough I can read it. Do we know why she got out of the car? Yeah, to attend to this toddler. Again, a white 3 to 4 boy, clothed but not wearing socks. So, Ashley says she states that she heard a baby crying. Yes, this is after the abduction. Was it the toddler? That wasn't. That was what we were led to believe in the press conference, but that wasn't, I don't think, definitively stated. So the idea is that she was in the back of an 18-wheeler with this male abductor, a female, who would eventually go on to start playing with her hair, and also too. She heard a baby screaming, so she's, in essence, it sounds as if, without connecting dots, but it sounds as if the child who would be on the side of the road very well could be the child that is in the 18-wheeler. But again, that is if you believe that the child exists, and if you believe that this group in the 18-wheeler, the 18-wheeler abductor, if you will, exists. Tori, do you have the 911 call? I would try to put it on Twitter, and Twitter crashed for me today. So Twitter isn't very video friendly in breaking news situations. I tried to get the 911 call up, and I couldn't. Disappointed. Because I wanted to share that with our audience that wasn't on the live stream. Yeah, I can replay the 911 call. People are asking, can we replay the 911 call one time? And I have the first 2 minutes and 20 seconds of it because it was a tweet. But yeah, let's play it back. And as we get closer to the 5,000 vote mark in our poll here. All right. Wait, is this it? Trying to find it. I think. Oh, wait, or this is it. Hold on. No. Is this it? Hold on, folks. Loading. Oh, that's not it. So that means that this has to be it. All right, we're just going to play it.
4:59, and there's just a kid just walking by themselves.
Hold on. Where on 49 are you?
I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Med, like to get off by the Hoover Med.
Okay, so you're before the exit?
Yes.
Okay, were you headed southbound or northbound? Like towards Tuscaloosa or towards 280?
Towards Tuscaloosa.
Okay, and was the child on the left or right side?
On the right side.
Were they walking northbound or southbound?
They're walking towards Tuscaloosa.
Walking southbound? How old do they look?
Like a toddler, like maybe like 3 or 4.
Did you pull over with them? Are you still with them?
Yes.
Okay, are you with the child right now?
No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though.
Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, what kind of car are you in?
I'm in a red Mercedes-Benz.
Is it a sedan or SUV?
SUV. I mean, it's a sedan. Sorry.
Can you put your hazards on for me?
Yeah, they're on.
Okay. Did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do they look like they're injured?
No, they don't.
Are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
They're white.
Okay. Is it male or female?
I think it's a boy, a little boy.
White male? Okay, so is he wearing clothes?
Yes.
Okay. What is he wearing?
It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper.
And you don't see any cars anywhere?
No, no cars anywhere.
Okay. All right. What's your name?
My name is Carlee Russell.
And you don't see any injuries on the child from where you're at, correct?
No, but I can't really see them that good.
Okay, try to keep an eye on them for the best that you can, because I don't want you to lose track of them.
So that's the 911 call. And I think it's fair to state that Carlee Russell on the call sounds pretty calm, composed. She's answering questions. It's not a very frantic call. A lot of 911 calls are very, when they release to the media, it just you can hear the urgency and you can hear how frantic sometimes it can get. And a lot of times 911 operators have to calm down the caller and get information delivered to them more in a more concise manner. This was very calm, straightforward, concise. And so that has to be stated about the call itself. Also, people were commenting about a story in Cass County, Texas, that a comment that I had up on screen earlier. I have to do a little bit more research before I understand that story better. I think I might have had that comment on screen briefly for a moment as I was cycling through comments, being as respectful as I can when I say that I just have to, of course, look more into that story before I share anything out about it. But yeah, I do see your comments here in the social media comment section here, folks. Approaching 5,000 votes is your last opportunity to vote in our unscientific, social media-based WFLA YouTube live poll, where we are asking what you think should be done with the 60,000 plus that was collected in the Carlee Russell search. Very straightforward question. We asked if it should be refunded, use it for other missing persons cases, nothing. They keep it. Look, we don't know what's going to happen to that money, but it is the public's money. So common sense, shouldn't the public have a say in what happens to the publicly donated funds that were supposed to go to finding Carlee Russell? Or does that make too much sense for it to actually happen that way, right? Like, it's supposed to happen that way. Let's see what happens. Destiny, I think that this is why law enforcement was hinting at the fact that she wasn't fully restrained as far as the blindfold. She's asking why didn't she take the blindfold off if she wasn't restrained. These are, again, you know what I really want to know? Here's a real question that I actually want to know. That was not stated. It might sound like a small thing, but at this stage, to me, this is very curious and very interesting to me. When... Maybe they stated it and I missed it, but I'll have to look back at the press conference again and rewatch. But when Carlee Russell comes home and she does provide this initial statement to law enforcement, how long did law enforcement have with her? Was it just a few minutes? Was this like a very quick back and forth as the paramedics were getting ready to take her to the hospital? How long did investigators have as far as getting information from Carlee before that trip to UAB hospital? Abigail says, #KJB, where can you vote? I don't see the poll. It's on YouTube Live on the WFLA YouTube page. And we're doing it on YouTube specifically because we have a larger audience there at the moment. We got about 4,000 watching on Facebook Live, and we still got about an audience of, how many? Let's see here, 16 or so thousand on YouTube Live. So we are able to get more poll responses right now on YouTube Live. And I hope that one day we can have a poll system where it can just work universally across all platforms. I know that some, there are options out there like straw poll and stuff like that, but we have to, there's a whole thing about polling that we have to be very, very, make sure that we're going about it a certain way. So another 60 seconds to vote in our poll, and then we'll look at the results. Ooh, it's another good question, Amy. #KJB, and I don't remember hearing this. Again, I was jotting down notes so fast during the press conference, but how long was she home before the parents called 911, and was there any delay? We also don't know, was there a police detail at the house monitoring the family? And was that how they found out? Like, how did police initially find out? I'll have to go back and watch the press conference. Again, I was just jotting down notes as quickly as I absolutely could, and I've been with you guys on stream ever since. But really, we're going to wrap up our stream here shortly. Before we go to our poll results, quick mention here in the Stream Center. For updates on this story, you can follow me at WFLAJB on every social media platform. At WFLAJB on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Instagram is more of where, I do news on Instagram. It's more of, that's just more, not as much of a news platform as it is just like a, hey, this is who I am kind of platform. So that's what I use Instagram for. It's more just kind of share more behind the scenes of here, a little bit of what we do in the Stream Center interactively with interactive journalism, and also too just a little bit of my life. But then also, so TikTok Live on TikTok, I'm at WFLAJB on every platform, including on Threads. But is Threads losing steam? Is Threads already kind of like a whatever kind of thing, or is it really going to be a Twitter competitor? I really don't know. But I'm on there as well. So future updates on stories, an opportunity to get a hold of me. And really, if you want to get a hold of me, this is where I go into feedback as far as the live streaming that we do. If you want to provide feedback, story suggestions, things that you want to see the Stream Center be used for, or if you just want to talk about, you give feedback, good, bad, or ugly, you can send it to our news operation here by sending it to news@wfla.com. If you want to drop a comment about how we do interactive live streaming, how we do interactive journalism. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can send it to heyjb@wfla.com. So 2 emails, news@wfla.com if you want to get a hold of the news station or have a story suggestion. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can send it to heyjb@wfla.com. And with that, as we end our live stream, let's look at the poll results. What we asked you on YouTube Live, what should happen to that $63,000 plus collected in the Carlee Russell search? We got 5,200 votes and counting, and 61%, so nearly 2/3 of our poll respondents think that the money should be refunded. I mean, that makes the most sense, right? It does. We had a commenter earlier by the name of Lori. It was either Laura or Lori. I think it was Lori, who said, hey, look, it's been collected. Use it for other missing persons cases. 34% of people, so about 1/3 of poll respondents, think that is what the money should be used for. Only 2%, not surprisingly, said nothing. The state should keep it. And then only 3% said other, as far as our... so that's not really a whole lot. Less than 5% of people thought one of those 2 other options. So it's really number one option. People want to see the money refunded. Secondly, the second most popular option was using it for other missing persons cases. I don't even know. I don't think it works like that. I don't. But hopefully, if people want their money back, they get their money back. Hopefully. I mean, it's publicly contributed funds for a missing persons case that was no longer a missing persons case. And so we'll see what happens. I'll try to keep you posted. All right, that's going to do it for us here on WFLA Now. Thanks so much for joining us. This was the press conference and the Carlee Russell, investigation. We got a chock full of information in that press conference. It was just a lot of info. And so you could follow me on my social media platforms or go to WFLA.com for more information. Again, WFLA.com, where we have our story that will be updated with more information as the story develops. We will continue to do, I don't care what the outcome is on this story, we will continue to do missing persons cases. We will continue to talk about stories that matter to you. You just have to let us know about the stories that you think are worth covering, and it's by sending things to news@WFLA.com. Really, you want to send in a story tip, a story suggestion, send it to news@WFLA.com. That's how we get more direct correspondence from you, our audience members, our viewers watching around the world, as to what you think should get interactive live streaming treatment as far as the stories we cover here on WFLA Now. So thanks so much for joining us. You can follow me at WFLAJB across all platforms, and we'll see you next time here in the Stream Center on WFLA Now.